My name is JP Lane, Specialist JP Lane, retired from U.S. Army.
Yes.
And
I'm Crystal Lane, and I'm JP's caregiver and wife.
awesome. Well, thank you both for being here. Thank you both for your service to my wonderful country. Appreciate it very much. So tell me a little bit, let's start with a little bit about your military service.
So I joined the Army in 2008, and I joined as a combat engineer, ultimately searching for the bombs in the roads in Afghanistan, clearing the routes, making sure everybody could go home safe. And needless to say, I had a blast over there. One that eventually got me pretty good. Went through my vehicle and took off both my legs. But don't worry, I'm an inch taller, so it's all good.
So unfortunately that happened to you. I'm sure rehab up the yin yang. Is that part of what brought you to the Warrior Games?
Ultimately, I had a lot of therapy. I was in the hospital for a long time, coma for a month and a half, you name it, the list goes on. But back in 2022, they had the Warrior Games here at Walt Disney World, and we got to not be here as an athlete, but represent on the civilian side, and it was amazing to watch. And all these hardworking athletes that have given everything every single day, and they had been injured, but now they're fighting through that and now dominating as an athlete. It fired up that athletic side of me as well, and I'm like, okay, babe, I'm gonna go do this.
Were you hesitant to get into it at first?
Not at all.
Okay.
I was super fired up. I always had the athleticism when I had my legs, and I think that just fired up when I saw this, and I was like, okay, I ain't got no legs, but I'm about to go do this thing.
Yep.
Please, no.
I was gonna say it's been nonstop ever since. I mean, he's been like just all year round. Like, I can't wait for the Warrior Games. I can't wait for the Warrior Games. And I'm like, he's training. I mean, I can't wait to see it on the court because it's worth it. All the hours he's put in. Yeah.
So what are your sports? What are we going to see you doing?
So I'm going to be doing wheelchair basketball, city volleyball, archery, powerlifting, indoor rowing, track and field. I think that's everything.
No rugby?
No rugby. I gotta take a break sometime.
I'm watching this rugby out here, and these guys just bang into each other. I'm like, that's got to be you.
Oh, it's fun. I love it. Speaking of which, I would be doing rugby, but they wanted us to do 2-team sports so we're not exhausted. Because I'd be totally wiped out if I did all 3. I gotta eat and sleep.
Gotta look out for you.
Yeah.
Okay, what's your favorite to participate in?
My favorite, I have 2 favorites. I have track running in my blades.
Oh, wow.
And which you'll get to see later, and then wheelchair basketball. Those are my 2 favorites.
Okay. Which one are you best at?
Ooh, that's a good. At this point, wheelchair basketball probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
But give it time, right?
Yeah, give me a minute.
So, I know there's a lot of camaraderie just in the military in general. I imagine when you're on a team like this, it's even upped a little bit, right?
It really is. What's awesome about being on Team Army is like we've never met each other before, or maybe some of us have run into each other from base to base or whatever. But now we're on a team focused on bringing home the goal for Team Army. But the cool thing is we don't hate anybody on the other teams either, because they're also our brothers and sisters that we love to death. So it's competitiveness on the court, and then back to family time after. And it doesn't matter what branch you're in, we love you anyway.
That's cool.
That's cool.
What do you like to watch him do the most?
Oh, I just love him. He's just a goofball. I think bringing the encouragement to the team. I mean, you need that. He's a great leader, and so I think seeing him just kind of encourage his other teammates and his brothers and sisters in arms, I love it. So that I think you just keep doing that throughout the whole Warrior Games, and I think you'll lift them up.
Wow, that's perfect. I'm going to stop right there.
Hi, my name is Brianne Cook, and I'm a veteran of the United States Marine Corps.
Cliche, but thank you for your service.
Thank you.
All right, so before we get into the games themselves, can you just tell me a little bit about your military history?
Yes, so I did almost 5 years in the Marine Corps. I was an officer, served in a maintenance company for most of my time there in South Carolina. Absolutely loved it. Absolutely go back in the future once I get better. I love the Marine Corps. That's why I'm here. So.
You're not active duty anymore?
I am no longer active.
But you would be in a heartbeat.
Yes.
Okay, so you are here for the Warrior Games. What is or are your sports?
So I will be doing, for the individual stuff, I'm doing rowing and swimming, and then I'm doing all 3 team sports, so wheelchair basketball, wheelchair rugby, and sitting volleyball.
Is that pretty common for people to do multiple sports?
It can be. For us, for the Marine Corps team, typically if you do one team sport, you're doing all of them just because a lot of us, that's like just what clicks better for everybody. And plus, once you're in a wheelchair for one sport, kind of makes it easier to learn how to be in a wheelchair for another sport. So, yeah, typically it's all of them.
So did you just want to do this, or was it a part of your rehabilitation? Or?
Yeah, so I actually, I had reached out to them last year. When I was undergoing my med board, they had done a call out for wounded service members who wanted to participate in the Marine Corps trials last year. And I reached out and I said, hey, I'm a wounded service member and I'm still in. I want to go do this. And they said, yeah, come out. And I went out to Camp Pendleton and did the trials and then got selected for the challenge last year. And thankfully, when I got out, they reached back out to me again and asked me to come back and participate again. So, but yeah, I thought it was super interesting. I didn't really know a ton about it, and now that I'm involved in it, it's just amazing.
Is it a tough is it a serious tryout? A lot of people aren't going to get there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember the exact number, but when we did trials this past year, I mean, there's cuts that are made, but typically everybody that's there that wants to be there, there's going to put out and you're going to make it team. So.
Were you already a competitive athlete prior to this?
Yeah, so even prior to my injury, I played a little college volleyball. I've played volleyball my entire life. Obviously, being in the Marine Corps, you got to be pretty physically fit, so being an athlete is just kind of naturally comes to a lot of us. And so this is a way to get to play sports that isn't going to harm my body any further than what already has happened. So it's nice.
So, I come here, my first time seeing this, it feels so good to see the people that, served our country able to have this outlet. But I'm guessing for you out there on the court, it's actually just quite competitive and you're just competing in a sport, right?
Yeah, I would say it's both. Because for me, again, it's like when you're injured and you kind of go through the process of accepting that you're injured and you're like, I will never get to do the things I used to do. But then you come to something like this and you're like, oh no, I can do the things I used to do. It's a little different. But yeah, I think it's a combo of both because obviously when we're out there on the court, I want to be Team SOCOM. I want to be the Air Force, but it's still a part of the camaraderie and the rehab that we all are still going through. I think this is a perfect blend of competitiveness and getting better. So.
And I've never been in the military, but I'm sure there's a camaraderie there automatically. Is it even more so when you're on a team like this?
Oh yeah, absolutely. The team always gets super tight when we do events like this. And then there's members of the Marine Corps that are on Team SOCOM, Air Force. We've done events with them pretty much for the last 5 months. We've hung out with them in some way. So everybody, regardless of branch, kind of gets pretty close during this.
So this is my first exposure to any of this, and these sports are serious business and so interesting. Can you just pick one of your sports and give people something to look out for?
I'm going to say I think sitting volleyball this year is going to be very competitive. I know for a fact that the Air Force team, every time they see me specifically, I'm the captain for the volleyball team, every time they see me, they're always like, man, we've been working really hard. We're going to be competitive this year for volleyball. I'm like, all right, so I guess the Air Force Marine Corps team, that's going to be the game to watch, I would say.
So now. Typically, does Marine Corps dominate sitting volleyball?
So last year we got third, SOCOM got first, but we do have a lot of energy, and our team usually does bring some power, and our games are usually pretty loud, and I think it kind of, the other branches, they see that and they're like, no, we have to crush these guys because you guys won't shut up. We need to make these guys shut up.
So awesome. Can't wait to watch. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
So my name is Harley Meagley. I am representing Team SOCOM this year for the Wounded Warrior Games here at Disney. This is my first time here at Disney, so it's pretty cool.
First time at Disney World at all?
Ever, yeah. 34 is my first time out here.
You're going to see more than Wide World of Sports, right?
I hope so.
There's a lot of park out there.
Yeah.
Can you tell me just a little bit about your military service?
Yeah, of course. So I've been in the Navy for 14 years. I'm a Seabee. So I do carpentry in the Navy, and I'm pretty sure Disney's actually covered Seabees at one point or another. They made an illustration. This is a rant. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
They made an illustration for Seabees' wives at home because in 1942, when the Seabees started, so many people started, joining the Seabees and went overseas. So Disney, I think, made something for the wives, and they called it Phoebe the Seabee.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
teaching me. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, and now you're here for the Warrior Games. Can you tell me a little bit? First of all, what sports are you involved in?
Oh, a lot of them. So I'll be playing wheelchair basketball. I'll be an alternate for the rugby, wheelchair rugby, sit volleyball. I'll be doing indoor rowing, cycling, fields, and wheelchair racing. And I feel like I'm missing something.
Do you have a favorite among those?
Oh yeah, for sure. Rugby and basketball. Those are so much fun. going to just.
That was the first thing I saw when I walked in here. I've never seen these games before, and the first thing I see is people just banging into each other as hard as they can. Is that really what this sport is?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That might be why it's one of my favorites. I'm really not like that, like where I just want to go around and hurt people, but it's fun to it's like bumper cars.
Yeah, if they volunteer to be hurt, it's okay.
Yeah, everyone knows what they're getting themselves into for sure.
Awesome. So what was kind of your path to get to the Warrior Games? Is there a tryout, or what's the path to get here?
Yeah, so I guess it all started. I got hurt in Africa in 2022, and I was sent to Germany, then sent to Walter Reed in Washington D.C. And basically it all started there. Once I started recovering, I could start putting prosthetics on. The adaptive sports coordinator over at Walter Reed got a hold of me, and it all started from there. Like, he's like, hey, you should go sign up for this, go do this, and I did. So basically one thing led to another. I got a hold of the Special Operations Command Care Coalition, and just loved everything they were doing, and asked if I can be part of it, and here I am.
Were you an athlete already? Were you
Yes.
big into sports?
Well, I've always been a skateboarder, snowboarder, so those are like my type of sports. But I definitely like being around people, like being on a team. So it's nice to So I did these sports last year at the Warrior Games Challenge. So seeing all the same guys, or most of the same guys this year, it's really it's awesome. It feels like nothing really changed over a year.
It feels like I know there is in the military anyway, but it feels like even more so here. There's both a lot of camaraderie, but also a lot of serious competition.
Yeah, definitely. I would say that we're not supposed to go 100% on the practices and stuff like that. But we definitely do, because we're all waiting months to come do this. So
That's
we're ready.
awesome. Let's see. So all of these sports are new to me. I'm sure they're going to be new to a lot of my readers. So can you pick, say, wheelchair rugby? What's something that people should just look out for in wheelchair rugby that'll help them appreciate it more?
Well, I will say it's a lot more than just hitting each other. If the only thing that it's kind of like watching hockey in a little bit, but we don't fist fight each other. But in another sense, though, there's a lot of strategies. We spend a lot of time weaving in between each other, communicating. So you can hear them in the background, ball. The teams who communicate like that are going to do the best.